I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, peoples? How you doing, man? I'm telling you what. If it wasn't one thing, it's another. I hate it when people tell you you can't do something. But like I told my next guest, Miss Pierce, I told her all you have to do is go, "Pfft." That's it. That's it. You just give him the, "Pfft," and that's it. Now, if you can't see, I'm doing the pouting lip and the going, yeah, right. Watch me. Just watch me. As Miss Pierce has done with her book and with all of her books, all she has to do is say, just watch me. Miss
Yep.
Pierce, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us about yourself and your journey.
Well, um, about me, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee, and my mother felt it was time for her to bring us to, because I have four other siblings, and she felt it was time for her to bring us to New York so we could get a better education. So I was brought up in New York City for a short period of time. Then we moved to Westchester.
Mm-hmm.
I graduated from A.B. Davis High School, and then I went to um, I'm getting a blank now. I'm at the age where I get blanks. But
That's okay.
anyway, I went to Cheney State College
Mm-hmm.
in Pennsylvania, in Cheney, Pennsylvania. It's now a university.
Okay.
Um, I received my Bachelor's of Science education there, and my career began as an elementary school teacher in Mount Vernon, New York, in 1968, and it lasted 35 years.
Wow.
It was during that time I pursued and earned a master's degree in education and reading.
Mm-hmm.
I retired in 2003.
Wow.
Then I returned as a substitute in the same school area
Mm-hmm.
or the school system. And when I retired in 2003, I did substitute work, and that's when I started really writing my books. And
Nice.
yeah, I first wrote three books of poetry, um, and I've written 16 books.
Wow.
Yeah, and I used when I substituted, I would use my books. I had two two books that I used especially because I hadn't written The Empress Regret yet, and I used those two books. They called what they call A Challenge of Common Knowledge One and A Challenge of Common Knowledge Two, and I
Mm-hmm.
used those books uh, with kids that I had was subbing. When I would go into the classroom, the teacher had left her plans, and so I would tell the children, once we get finished with the teacher's plan, then we can have a little fun, and we
Mm-hmm.
will do a challenge of common knowledge. A challenge in common knowledge is just a group of 401. Uh, I call them queries because they're questions and um, answers. So, and I have two books of those, and the children love them. One is a black book. It's black, so they would say, Miss Pierce, can we do the black book now? I said, but we can do the book after we finish your teacher's work.
Right.
And then when we finish the work, then I would use those. And I just want to give you a sample of. I'm looking at a
Mm-hmm.
sample of what's in the book.
Definitely.
Okay, and it ranges. Let me just see what it says on the back. It says here 401 queries and responses that allow immediate feedback. It samples a variety of subject matter from mathematics, social studies, language arts, science, art, and more. The format of the book makes it easy to create challenging activities to stimulate an interest in learning. Learning can be great fun anytime. So that's what the premise of the book, because it's it covers everything. No matter how slow you are, there is something in here that you will be able to answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, you can use it with your family. It's a book that I could use with children. and it's a book that they could use with their family and have fun. Um, Now that's one. I'm going to get to the last three books. Uh, Remembering Our Black Trailblazers and Their Legacies.
Mm-hmm.
So I started doing this after I retired because I saw that our black children don't know much about their history, and they need to know in order to be, well-rounded people and understand you might be poor, but if you work hard, you can attain things, you can accomplish things,
Right.
because each book has what is it, 34, what I call it. I don't want to make this too long. I'm trying to find them. Okay. Um, what I 34 black um, people who have, who struggle and who moved ahead. They worked hard. Uh, some didn't go to college,
Mm-hmm.
but they knew they had children, and they made sure their children focused on learning because they knew the importance of. I'm looking for something. That's why I feel so. Uh,
No
okay,
worries.
they knew the importance of an education for their future,
Mm-hmm.
and many of these people struggle. They didn't live to see the dream, but what they accomplished, uh, we see the dream. We are able to use. Now I had let's see the book. Let's see, remembering our Black Trailblazers and their legacies, 1 and 2 and 3. Now I had what they call these. They did a U.S. review
Mm-hmm.
of the first book,
Okay.
and this is what the person who reviewed it was Toby Berry, and he said he wrote at the top, Dr. Drew was named director of the American Red Cross Project.
Mm-hmm.
His extensive research indicated there was no white blood or black blood. Blood banks worldwide are memorials to the genius of Dr. Drew, and he's just one of the people in the first book. And in each book there are 34. I wanted to read the part that tells. I guess you can tell I'm nervous.
Don't be nervous. No.
Well, I want to get it right.
Don't worry. That's what editing is for.
Okay, I just want to read this book. It says, the purpose of this book of brief biographies is to keep the memory of our Black trailblazers alive and to inspire further research on these extraordinary individuals. In spite of the racial divide and the negative sentiments that existed during their time, they pursued a path that improved the direct circumstances of many. It often came at a cost. Nevertheless, adversity fueled their determination to make a difference. Their brave actions and significant contributions changed the course of history. The men and women mentioned in this book are but a fraction of those that were instrumental in bringing about that change. And I have, as I said, 3 books. I was able to, the last one, it's the more recent one, and that's the one I was able to get Oprah Winfrey in and Obama, because it was difficult to get permission to use her picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to take a chance and be sued because I don't have that kind of money. So what I did, I had someone draw the portraits of those 2 people. So I was able to do book 3. But in each book, there are 34 people that deserve to be in the book.
Mm.
So that's with that. Now I'm gonna get to the Empress Regret.
Mm-hmm.
I I did I read I read about oh I read about did I read about the uh, where I got the idea?
You know,
I didn't read anything.
no, you didn't.
Okay. Um, it says while on a oh, I can't even find what I'm looking for. Okay. While visiting Botswana, Africa,
Mm-hmm.
I went on a guided tour with a small group um, on a nighttime safari in one of Africa's wild animal reserves. The guide stopped a short distance away from the dense from a dense grove of tall trees, and he turned the lights down. We were riding in a jeep, so he turned the lights down, and he said, "Just wait a few minutes." And we waited about a minute, and suddenly we heard the screaming and the screeching and the
Whew.
howling from the top of this grove of trees.
What?
And of course, we were everybody in the jeep was a bit afraid, but of course the guide had said, "Don't be afraid. Um, this is nature." So he said, "Just be quiet and listen and follow what I tell you to do." So we did, and suddenly the animals that were up in the top of the trees started screaming, and
What?
they were jumping back and forth.
Oh
And
goodness.
we still were nervous.
Of course.
So so I asked. I said, "Well, why are they screaming?" He said, "Just wait a minute. Wait a few minutes." And it was black dark because we couldn't see. So finally, the tour guide, he had a strobe light on the front of the jeep. So he said, "Just look now. Follow the 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 glare of the light." And we were all looking, and we could see this animal. This and he described it as it was a leopard,
Okay.
was circling the perimeter of the park that we were in. And I heard something was hitting the ground. I think I described it in one of my interviews, but it was hitting the ground and it sounded like apples. Have you ever lived in the country
Okay. Yeah.
or been around apple trees when the wind is blowing and it's raining?
Oh yeah.
And you can
Pomegranate
hear it.
trees or even papayas.
Yeah, they hit the ground. Any fruits that are up and
Right.
the wind's blowing, it hits the ground. But when they hit the ground all together, it really sounds horrible. But anyway, that's what I heard. So I thought, because Africa things are done a little different. I thought it was apples hitting the ground, and I said to the tour guide, "What is that? Are apples hitting the ground?" So he said, "No, there are no apples." He said, "That's the bowels of what he said, baboons. They know what that leopard is looking for
Oh my
because
gosh.
it happened every day or at night. That baboon was looking for a meal, and
Mm.
as the guide was slowly uh, aiming the light around as this leopard was, you know, waiting, and he was prancing around, and finally something else hit the ground, and he started he started leaving. He started sneaking out of the where the trees were. He was
Ooh.
leaving because he had gotten what he came for. One
Okay.
of the animals had fallen, and the leopard was able to snatch it and leave.
Mm.
That was his dinner. Now that was exciting, but it was scary.
Yeah.
But then in my book, I had to say I couldn't say that it was the bowels of the the baboons, because that old term is that he scared me. I can't say the word. He scared me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I couldn't say that word. So I
Yeah.
had to say, I think I said, uh, they lost their food or something. I said I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember exactly what I said. You know, uh, and but I put in here, even though he knows what happened, there is nature. That's nature's way of providing for one of its creatures in the wild.
Wow.
So yeah, that's that story.
That's
But
crazy.
it's more to that story than just that part because uh, it's really about a young emperor
Mm-hmm.
who he follows in his father's footsteps or his um, ancestors' footsteps. But then it seems to become too much for him. He becomes overwhelmed, and he wants to find a new way of living, and he's willing to give up his birthright to get rid of the heavy responsibility that's on him. So what he does, he can't figure out a way himself. So see what he summons an elder, a well-respected elder in his area, and probably who had worked for um, his 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 oh my gosh, who had worked for his ancestors before,
Mm-hmm.
but it was an old elder um, who was known to possess great wisdom and powerful magic. So
Okay.
to pursue his desire, he summons uh, this well-respected elder whose name is Hanobi, um, and said so he wanted him to find a way to get him out of his predicament. And this is
Wow.
the young man's name is Pahini.
Mm-hmm.
So Pahini is just overwhelmed with the responsibilities of royalty. So he calls for Hanobi to come and give him advice and help him find the life that he really is interested in. And the elder
Mm-hmm.
comes with a solution, and he's surprised at the solution because it's not what he thought would happen. Now I did put in the book. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to read this part. Set in a tropical rainforest in eastern Asia. This is after Pahini decides that he's going to accept the elder's uh, decision.
Okay.
So anyway, okay, the book tells of the story of Pahini, a troubled young emperor whose ultimate goal is to find a life with less responsibility. Uh, Annoyed with the grasp of royalty, he relinquishes his birthright right to seek a more carefree existence. He summons Hanobi, who is known to possess great wisdom and powerful magic, to pursue his desire. As he experiences the freedom of his new life, reality falls dangerously short of his fanciful expectations. Now, I put down the author hopes the Emperor's story will encourage readers to consider possibilities, possible consequences first before making important decisions.
Yeah.
Hasty actions will too often I'm sorry,
That's
will
okay.
too often deliver unwarranted outcomes.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
But
You didn't
another,
retire.
I'm sorry.
I said you didn't retire.
Well, I did.
Goodness.
The body says I had to retire, but I still have a connection with children because any book I write it with some learning in there. It says here, let me see. Uh, okay, what's oh, okay. I see something. Oh, also the something I wanted to say about this book also. Uh, in this book, you asked me some questions, and I can answer your question.
Definitely. You know, first of all, I'm so proud of you that
Are
even
you?
though I am, because think about it this way, okay? There are so many people out there that think that after, you retire, it's like, okay, you die. You don't die. You just do something different. You know,
Yeah.
you go after another dream. You do something that you've always wanted to do that you didn't have the time to do. And you did this, and this is amazing. How many books have you written so far?
I've written, well, really, I've written 15, but one of the books that I just finished, um, it was in my poetry book, and I want to read one of those poems to you too.
Definitely.
It's in one of my books, and I felt that the poem, if illustrations were put with this poem, it could be another book. And so I spoke to my representative, and she thought that was a good idea. So we just put together one, and it's turned out beautifully. She just told me today that it has a good following already. So
Awesome.
I'm excited to see it myself.
Definitely, definitely. Wow. Well, go
Yeah.
ahead and read that for us.
Okay. I want to read the poem, not that poem, because that one someone would have to read it themselves in order to um, really understand. Okay, this is
Okay.
let's see, page 44. I just think it's so much knowledge you accumulated over, or I have accumulated over the years. I still want children to have a different way of thinking. Don't be followers. Let me just read this. It's called Choose Your Words Wisely. Remember, words are used to communicate, so use them wisely. Words can alienate, words can instill hate, words can be a barometer to evaluate, words can cause pain and humiliate. Words said in anger can never be retracted. Words, when remembered, is a scene reenacted. While other words may take their place, the damage done is hard to erase. So choose your words. That was one of my mottos to do in class. I never humiliated a child who was, downtrodden.
Mm-hmm.
I would give them a little lesson and try to help them see themselves in a more positive light. And it worked most of the time.
Yeah.
There are a few hard ones that it wouldn't work, but you know. But anyway, I wanted you to listen to that.
Mm, that's beautiful. That's
That
beautiful.
that received what is it? Received. I entered it in. Let's see. I entered it in. It says chose earned the author and wait a minute. I see what one of the life lesson poems included in this collection. Choose your words wisely. Earned the author an Editor's Choice Award given by the Poetry.com and the International Library of Poetry for its unique perspective and original creativity.
Mm,
So,
wonderful.
I try to make things make sense to children,
Yeah.
even though adults will read it and enjoy too,
Mm-hmm.
but it's mostly for young people.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. You have done something that most people said that you couldn't do either. You're getting ready to be on Times Square.
Oh, but I'm a shy person. I'm no my brother said to me, I was telling him, I said, I understand they're putting it on Times Square. He says, well, tell the people at church so they can put it on the bulletin board. I that's not me.
You
I
should.
will tell my,
Because
you know,
you know that's a testimony now. That's a testimony now. You can't hide that. Can't hide that. I agree with him 100%.
But you know what? Everybody has something to give. And my books, I always say, my books are my legacy. I have had so many different publishing companies that I've had to fight to get away from because, they weren't living up to their promises and the contracts. And when you do self-publishing, you can leave anytime. That's what the contracts say. But then many times the publishers don't want to let you go because they're making the money and they don't give you any of it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
I've had a number of them that I had to leave, and I had to get a lawyer to do so, and it cost too much money.
Wow.
I have been through something with these books because I said I refuse to let any of them keep my books. I've worked too hard on these books. I've had too many headaches.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that. Yeah.
So every one of my books, I've had to fight to move them to some other company.
But you're with a great company now, aren't you?
Yes, but they are not. They don't publish my books.
Mm-hmm.
They pitch them. They were pitching them. They pitched because they called me. I was right in the middle of a scam, I guess. And when I think Jenny called, and she said she was an agent to how do you call it? They pitch books to other, to what just like what she's doing, and that's what I hired her to do. They did their job because I was with them, how long? I think it was 2000, maybe it was 2020 when I first let them hold on to my query letter. And so they did what they said they were going to do. But you know what? It got so expensive. I kept telling them I'm going to have to end up in my car.
My gosh.
I'm too old to end up in a car.
I hear that. I hear that. I hear that.
So finally, but I think my books are good. I really do.
They're great. And I love The Emperor's Regret. I love the cover of it and everything. This is definitely something that, the children should, parents should give their, make sure their children get. I mean, it's educational. It's coming from a teacher. So there's lessons to be learned. There's just education all over the place. So that's why I say you really haven't retired.
Well, I haven't retired my mind. It's just the body is retired.
That's right.
But one thing I want to say about The Emperor's Regret, what I'm proud of about that, is all my life, well, not all my life, as a teacher, I've heard, how we're losing our rainforest. And the rainforest is important to this planet.
Oh, yeah.
Because we, let's see, I had to write all this down too. It says, because they're facts, even though the book has it's what do you call it? Okay, my mind is gone again.
It's a folk tale, right?
Yeah, it's a folk tale.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some real facts in it, and there are also fiction. It's fiction and nonfiction, because I want children to understand that maybe they will become business people, and when they grow up, and maybe they can help to keep the rainforest alive, because the biggest rainforest is in Brazil, and then there are a group of people who are like builders and people who business. They are trying to cut down all the trees, and why trees are important to our
oxygen. Filtration.
Yes.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah. It says They're important because they help to regulate the Earth's temperatures and weather patterns. They help to maintain Earth's supply of the world's drinking water and fresh water. And most of the Earth's oxygen is supplied by the tropical rainforest.
Yes, ma'am.
Our rainforests are constantly being destroyed by businesses, landowners, and state governments to promote new colonies and industrial interests.
Well,
The Amazon is the largest rainforest on Earth, and sometimes I turn the TV on and I see where there are people trying to, buy land in that area, and there's a group of indigenous people that live there,
yes.
and they're trying to fight because they want to stay there. That's where they live. But you have the rich who wants the land, and they want to cut down the trees and build other stuff. I mean, it's kind of scary what's happening. So
you and me both are both scared on that one.
Yeah, because we're having more asthma, and they diagnosed me with asthma, and I never had asthma in my life, but suddenly, as I get older, asthma.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. So, but anyway, so this brings also this will bring the attention to that the plight of the rainforest.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
this is, and I had a friend of mine uses. Well, she's not using the book now. She's become an administrator in the school. So she was using the Emperor's Regret to talk about the rainforest. And when before she retired, she used it. Her class was second graders, so they really couldn't read, it because a lot of the words are a little above them. But she would read some of it every day when she was doing science, after her science lessons, and at the end of the day, she'd read a portion. And sometimes the kids come back, they come back as teenagers now, and they'll say to her, that book, The Emperor's Regret, you're still reading that, Mrs. Hurst? So, and I'm proud when she says that, when she tells me that, because she was one that helped me make corrections. People like, she was my best friend. We were friends in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So she helped me, to make corrections and that kind of thing. She's very smart. So, but anyway, so I hope I did enough talking.
You did, but that's okay, because I mean, literally, it's like these are stories that mean stuff to you, and the experiences and just everything that goes together with all of the things that you've done and all the things you're going to do. And again, congratulations on the Times Square billboard. And excuse me, you should be putting that out on the bulletin board. Hello.
Well, maybe I still have time because it's 19th to the 23rd.
Yes.
So I can call my minister, because I do the tallying of attendance. So I can just call him and say, would you put it up? Because I don't like to take God's house to do my advertising,
Right.
But maybe it's a benefit for young people.
It is. Think about this. Yeah. How many people in the world want to be on Times Square and never thought it would be possible?
I didn't think it would be possible either.
There you go.
I didn't think I would be writing, because you know what? I was not an A student in school, but I listened. Mm-hmm. And when I got to high school, I came from Tennessee, as I said, and my English was not the same. Mm. And kids would laugh, when I'd say something, I wouldn't put the right ending on. Like if I say silver, I'd say silver, and they would laugh. So I just said, you know what? I'm going to learn better how to get this together. So for a long time, I didn't do a lot of talking. I did a lot of listening to people who spoke well.
I got you.
So at some point, I decided when I was in high school I was going to take remedial reading,
Mm-hmm.
and do you know that really helped me? But I
Wow.
did it on my own. I went to and I just said I think I need remedial reading because I mean I don't read on the level of the children in my class, and these were when I came up here. There were children who had traveled all over the world, and the only place I had been was Memphis, Tennessee, and New York, and that was all.
Wow.
So I saw the difference in how I spoke, and you know.
Mm-hmm.
So now I said to myself, "Can you imagine? I'm writing books."
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Wow. Well,
but
I tell you one thing. I'm very proud of you. Like I said before, I'm very proud. You
thank you,
you
and I'm
took.
very proud of you too.
Oh,
Big
thank
time pusher.
you. You know it. I'm here to support people. I'm here to tell them that their dreams can come true. And just like going forward, it doesn't matter what age you are. If you still have your mind, you still have a way.
Yeah, but you know what? I didn't start this journey to make money because I wrote my poetry books. I never even considered selling those books. But
Mm.
when I did my Black History book, and I saw how Amazon was making big money, and one of the other companies too, they were making big money. They're out of business now because they were crooked,
Hmm.
but they were making big money off of my books. And I said,
No.
I'm not making anything off of my books.
Yeah. No,
And
that's not
so
right.
that's why I started moving my books. And finally, I got to a company that they do okay.
Mm-hmm.
They do okay. But I have to say that the company Jenny is with,
Mm-hmm.
they are go getters.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah. They'll
yeah.
scare you.
I decided. I said, let me try a Southern company because I can't stand California's companies. So I saw that she was from Marietta, Georgia, or
Uh-huh.
the company.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'll try them. But
Yeah.
they have been really fighting to get this book in. I've had this book. I put in that Eric Hoffa um, thing that they have, and
Mm-hmm.
I got honorary mention 2017.
Wow.
And then it was in again because that's all they want is money.
Mm-hmm.
I put in again, and they give me honorable mention. But now you see what happened?
Yep.
That company, Tranquility,
Mm-hmm.
Authors Tranquility,
Yes.
they pushed it until it now somebody wants it.
There
you
you
know?
go. There you
Yeah.
go. And that's why
My
it's
other
on.
three books I'm trying with my other company.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to see what they are doing, and if they don't move fast enough, I might do something else.
I hear you. I hear
But
you.
they've been good to me. I become attached to people and companies,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to cut them off right now.
I hear you.
But,
I
but
hear you.
we'll see.
We'll see, definitely. But being on Times Square is an amazing thing. And it's also something that you can give a testimony to. You know,
Oh yes.
you've been told you couldn't do it, and look at you doing it.
Well, I listen. I don't listen. I listen to God. I don't listen
Definitely.
to what other people tell me.
Mm-hmm.
But some people think they know. And if a person in a publishing company says, "Oh no, they don't do that," and well, ordinarily I might listen to them. But something happened with my company that I always listen to. Uh, they went off, somehow they disappeared,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I was going to have to start fighting again to get you know, pay to get my books out of their hands. But they were reorganizing, and they became closer to Amazon.
Mm.
So, and that's how the Emperor's Regret got out of their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I say. That you know what what do they say? When you snooze,
You lose.
you lose.
Yes, ma'am.
And they went off for months. I couldn't even contact them.
Oh my gosh.
So I said I got to go. But they came back on, and they came back better. My books are also they're in that, what do they call it, that Amazon has a
Um,
reader. What do they?
Yeah, I know what you're
Emma,
talking about. But I can't think of the name.
yeah, it's where people can download it. What do they call it? You know it.
Oh, Kindle.
Uh, Kindle, yeah.
Yes.
They put it in Kindle. So, but everything is oh so expensive now. I got to maybe I'll have a little more money now,
Well, let's see if we
and
can
I
do
can do.
that for you. And let's definitely
I
do
hope
that.
so.
Yes, definitely. So what we're doing is we're going to go ahead and put the information for the Emperor's Regret in the description box below. So that way you guys can get it from Kindle. You can get a hardcover or a paperback off of Amazon. We're going to put that link in the description box as well. You know, we need to be a support for other people, but not only that, it's the time to educate our children. And this book right here, The Emperor's Regret, it is folklore, but it does have some real truths in there that you can actually start a conversation with your children. You can read to them or they can read to you. It's just wonderful. And I know that you won't regret the Emperor's Regret.
But
I want to thank you for tuning in. Don't forget that all of that information is in the description box below. So, The Emperor's Regret by author Barbara A. Pierce is available on Kindle, hardcover, and paperback. The link is in the description. And again, guys, don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys, bye.